first grade, it's Miss Kaplan, me back again. Yesterday we learned all about poetry and we talked about some of the different things that poems have, and we call that the elements of poetry. An element is like a part of something, and we're going to look at those again today. So let's just remind ourselves what those are. So some of the elements of poetry are that poems can have a rhythm or a beat, kind of like a song. Sometimes poems can rhyme. Poems can be silly or serious. Poems can have lots of white space on the page. Poems can be short, although some can also be very long. And poems tell you feelings and thoughts that the poet or the writer of the poem can have. So today we're going to read a poem together called Wind by A.A. Milne. And as I read, I'm going to look for some of the elements of poetry in my poem, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that information in just a second. Okay, so this poem is called Wind, and the poet is A.A. Milne. No one can tell me, nobody knows, where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. It's flying from somewhere, as fast as it can. I couldn't keep up with it, not if I ran. But if I stopped holding the string of my kite, it would blow with the wind for a day and a night. Then, when I found it, wherever it blew, I should know that the wind had been going there too. So then I could tell them where the wind goes, but where the wind comes from, nobody knows. So that's the poem Wind, and I'm going to think about some of the elements of poetry that I found in this poem. And today, we're going to jot those down on this worksheet here. So let's see. I'm going to think about, first, the title of my poem. Well, my title is Wind. It's a short poem, so I can just write the title is Wind. Now, in the blue box, I'm going to write down all the elements of poetry that I found in this poem, and I've listed them right here for you, just in case you forget. So let's see. Does wind have words that rhyme? Well, I think so, because, no one can tell me, nobody knows, where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. Well, the word knows and the word goes rhyme. Knows, goes. They make the same sound. So I know that my poem has words that rhyme, so I can just jot that down, and I'm just going to list what I find here. Words that rhyme. And I know that my poem kind of does have a rhythm or a beat. I can even snap my fingers as I read it. No one can tell me, nobody knows, where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. Yeah, it has a beat. Does my poem talk about the feelings or the thoughts of the poet? Well, this poem is all about the poet, A.A. Milne, wondering where the wind comes from. Nobody really seems to know, according to him. And I think we can definitely hear the poet's thoughts about the wind, wondering where it comes from. My poem, it's not very short, so I don't think I can write that down. And I don't see a ton of white space on the page. This poem is a little bit longer, so I'm not sure that lots of white space on the page is something that I would say my poem has, so it's not very short. Doesn't have a lot of white space. Is my poem silly or serious? I think this poem is a little more serious because it's really about the poet talking about the wind and wondering where it comes from. And I don't think I felt very silly or I didn't really laugh when I read it. So I think this is more of a serious poem. Okay? So first grade, today you're going to do the same thing. There are some poems that you can choose from, and you're going to think about what are all the different elements of poetry you found in the poem that you choose to read. Have fun!